Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Marvel Crisis Protocol video. My name is Max, and we are chatting a brand new announcement that's come through. It's actually the banned and restricted list. So, what does that actually mean? It means banned, obviously means is banned, cannot be used, or at least should not be used in competitive play, or tournament play, or organized play, even on tabletop versions of the games. Just kind of playing with friends and stuff. It should probably be a little frowned upon. But at the same time, it's tabletop games. If you're playing tabletop games, you can play whatever you want. It's your freedom to do what it is. But banned definitely means in organized play, without kind of prior confirmation from all the people involved in the tournament, should not be played and cannot be played. Then you have the restricted list, a little bit more interesting. It has a couple of different rules to it, but the big one is whatever is on the list, you're only allowed to bring 2 of those particular things. So if there's 10 things on the list, you're only allowed to access 2 of those. You're not allowed to grab 3 from the list, or 4 from the list, or 5 from the list. You can grab 1 from the list. But you're limited to 2 at absolute most from that list. Now, currently, everything on the banned and restricted list is team tactics cards. So let's dive into it and kind of figure out why that happened. This one. Alrighty, so first off, we have Drop Off. This card is banned. If you don't want to kind of watch the interview was a little bit long. It was about half an hour or so. Really, really good chat with the Atomic Mass guys. So I definitely recommend checking out that. But look, TLDR, too long didn't read. This has potential to break the games in a lot of different ways. But more importantly, it stifles creativity and design in the long run. Every time they create a character, they have to question what happens if they get dropped off on turn 1 or 2. What happens if I have a flyer with long move and can put this intentionally slow character into the melee on turn 1 or 2? How stifling is that? How much punishment are you going to cop from that? How much do I have to play around that? And at flip side, should I just be bringing that full stop? Now, really, really cool thing. They kind of spoiled this a little bit, but Cabal is coming around from the X-Men series, and they're working on him. And the big problem was, if Cabal gets dropped off via a long movement from flight, what happens? Now, Cabal himself doesn't fly, Cable himself doesn't have flight, but if he does get dropped off into the fray and gets that free attack, what happens and how much does that break the game? And that was kind of a turning point for them that turned around and said, you know what, drop-off itself is actually stifling our design and not allowing us to create the characters that we want to create thematically. So this card has to go. Again, perfectly fine for tabletop, but should not be played on in a competitive standpoint. And I can understand that. If you watch our recent video, Bill and I were talking about putting Angela on your opponent's objective in Gamma Wave, on the other side of the board, turn 1, and then having a Green Goblin to back her up as well. At the end of turn 1, it's one of the last actions I can take. I get a bunch of free attacks and things like that, and Angela's still in the fray to potentially daze a couple characters and build up that energy for her next turn. If you've got priority or you've only got 1 attack against her, it just doesn't matter because she's not going to die and she gets to sit there and just whirlwind and kill everything and do a whole bunch of movements. So I definitely can see this card being a huge problem because the big problem, in a game based on movement, you're ignoring that movement rule for a very, very cheap cost, considering for a team's tactics card and a movement action, your character now gets to attack and then have their 2 attacks on their turn as well. So you're actually not really losing any action efficiency and only for a power, which again, in my mind, is absolutely huge, particularly with long movement flyers, which is a big problem here. So, rightfully so, drop-off is banned. Now, onto the restricted list. We've got 4 cards on the restricted list. We'll go through them fairly quickly. Doomed Prophecy, they turned around and said, isn't necessarily a fundamentally broken card. It is just a very, very powerful card. But in conjunction with a couple other cards as well, or particular characters, it definitely becomes very stifling. And more importantly, I've kind of been an advocate for things against this because I feel like it's a very bad play experience. But it has a lot of gotcha moments. Gotcha moment being like, you didn't realize Doom Prophecy, just how powerful it was, or maybe you didn't realize the synergies involved in this card with other characters or other things that people are doing at once, and all of a sudden you feel like, oh, I didn't realize that, and because I didn't know that particular rule or haven't seen that interaction before, I'm just going to lose the game. And that's always really, really feel bad when you don't see something, but something that's not obvious. Something that, or maybe this is kind of, it should be obvious, or you should have been aware of it, but you just weren't, and then they do this whole stuff. You're like, oh, but that's not how that should work. That doesn't seem logical in my head about why that was happening, and then consequently you feel really bad. And even your opponent feels kind of good, like, haha, I got you on that one, you didn't realize that. But then afterwards they just see kind of like, the lack of enjoyment from your face, like, oh, I actually just kind of, ruined that kind of play experience for that person, or definitely diminished their enjoyment of this game because of that action. And that feels bad on your side. And you shouldn't feel bad simply for playing the game to the best of your ability. And this card can do that. So what does it do? It means that you roll a whole bunch more attack dice than normal, and you don't have any defense dice. Now, in conjunction with a couple of things like Patch Up as an example, where you get to heal people consistently, or Med Pack, where you also get to spend 2 to heal 3 without a daze. Doom Prophecy is really good when you take a bunch of heat back and you just heal them up the whole time. You constantly heal them, and there's not much they can do about it. So, other reasons that these cards are on the list. They're unaffiliated, which means that, again, a little bit of creation stifling the design, and anyone can take them, and you see them constantly in every list in online tournaments, in every kind of podcast or article that you read or listen to. These cards are always very, very prominently featured within the game, and that's a little bit of a problem. You don't want to have to say, cool, I'm going to bring my team tactics cards, I'll take these 4 cards, and what's the extra one that I get? That stifles creativity and what you want to do with your characters and your playstyle. So having this restricted list where you can only start taking 2 of these, I think is really, really good. It means there's freedom to kind of just heal willy-nilly as you so choose. Isn't anywhere near as relevant, so that's kind of Patch Up and... Oh, that one skipped a bit past. Patch Up and Med Pack are definitely the problems here. My pictures seem to have been struggling a little bit, but Med Pack and Patch Up, definitely huge problems. Obviously, healing characters that arguably shouldn't be healed. Things like Black Order, when they kind of do their big finale and punish you, and then either get dazed or they get dazed, and if you can heal them off that, then they're no longer dazed as well. So you have a couple of really interesting things like with I mean, not at the moment because they choose non-dazed characters, but there's a couple of things in there that you can cheeky up. So just having that freedom to heal whenever you want, however you want, is something they want to restrict, because it feels like everyone's just going to take Med Pack and Patch Up, and now you can't do that. You can't Doom Prophecy and keep them alive for as long as possible to make sure that they get their power hits off, and so on and so forth. The other card on this restricted list, which makes a lot of sense in my mind, is Brace for Impact. I think this card is ludicrously powerful. I think the restricted list almost in my mind says choose Brace for Impact and one other card if you want. This card should be in pretty much every single list. There's no reason for it not to be. It's everything you want in a card when your opponent's throwing things, when your opponent is trying to throw you into stuff or buildings or crush it. Spending a power to potentially defend against 3 or at most normally 4 damage. You just spend a power and say, cool, 4 damage done. Who cares? It's so crazily powerful. I think it's an absolute must in almost every single list. So seeing this on the restricted list is good. I think it's very important, because a huge thematically awesome part about this game is throwing buildings, bashing stuff, breaking cars, throwing street lamps, hitting them like baseball bats and things like that, and that feels awesome. But when your opponent has Brace for Impact, you kind of have to be playing around this game where, like, I want to throw a medium-style terrain at you, so you spend the Brace for Impact so that later on my character can actually throw big at you. And you got to try and make this, which is an awesome playstyle to kind of think, how am I going to play around this card? But it also feels like it's almost game warping in the sense, just because you have this card, I now have to completely change my game plan or hit targets differently, because I know that you can just prevent the 3 to 4 damage from this. So definitely not a ban-worthy card like Drop Off, but a very, very, very powerful card, and reduces the thematics of the game, which I don't think is what we want in this game. We want thematical feelings. We want the thematical punches and big powerhouses of hits and breaks and all of that stuff. So, look, that was pretty much the announcement. So a couple things to take away from it. Cable is coming in X-Men. Really, really cool and excited about that. Hopefully we get something awesome with that. Restricted list is something that's probably going to get updated as we see more tournaments and more cards seeing predominant amounts of play. They definitely focus pretty heavily on unaffiliated types, just because they're the ones that are more accessible to everyone, and have more potential to be broken. And if we see things that start to stifle design or prevent characters, this is kind of their words, prevent characters feeling like they would in the Marvel Universe when on the table, that's when we're going to see some more restricted or banned style cards. Not necessarily from a ludicrously high power level, though that is definitely a consensus and an important part of the decision, but how much are they limited in creating that unique feeling of a character because these things exist in the game? And honestly, I think that's awesome. I think that's such a really, really cool philosophy for them to have. The most important thing is having a character feel like the character would in the real world. And I absolutely love that thought process. I love that mentality from Atomic Mass Games. It means that the characters are always going to feel unique and fun and like you want them to. Whether it's Angela flailing around in a whirl of blades, or whether it's Rocket Raccoon just shooting wildly across all the enemies and stuff like that, they try and get that thematic feeling correct. And I really think they've done it very, very well. So if you guys are watching this one, Atomic Mass Games, kudos to you guys. I think you're doing an amazing job. I think you really are capturing a lot of the flavor of characters. And I'm very, very excited for Wolverine and Sabretooth when they do come out. Or I'm excited for them to come out in Australia already, because we're in Australia, so we're just miles away from getting anything on time. But it's all right. I don't blame you. I blame the world. But look, I'm going to throw you on to Scott now. He's going to tell you how you can check out all our different social medias from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, things like that. Please do check out our website, www.generalgames.com.au, where you can pre-order all your Marvel Crisis Protocol goodness for up to 20+% off RRP when it comes to pre-ordering these products. We ship Australia-wide, and very, very soon we'll be shipping internationally as well. So thank you all for paying attention to this one. Had a wonderful time on it. You guys enjoy yourself. You girls enjoy yourself too. We'll see you next time. Mwah.
What's up, everybody? My name is Scott. And if you enjoyed that video, please click on the YouTube thing. You can do the bell and all the notifications. It really helps us a lot, actually. Facebook, one of the most important things for us. It's all our events, our pre-orders, our information, alerts, opening hours, everything you'll find there. And, of course, last but not least, Instagram. It's a bunch of pictures, behind the scenes, all sorts of cool stuff. Thank you all for watching. Check it out next time. Bye.